Good day, everyone. It's Caitlin, and today we are making more baby shirts, this time from the 1870s and 1880s. Hello and welcome. So we're going to work on some more baby chemises. These should be the last ones. So we're working on 1870s and 1880s ones today. I'm using there's a book that was on, it was like Cassell's Guide to Household Management or something like that. Anyway, she has a whole section on children's clothes and a whole section on baby clothes. And she includes patterns. It's kind of like the 1880s version of the Workwoman's Guide from what I can tell. Anyway, so she talks about little chemises for a child of 2 years old. I know we've been making ones for 12 to 18 months and then another one for 2 years. But we only do 1880s like 3 times a year. And I don't think it's worth me spending the time making the 2 sizes, even though these aren't going to be entirely or machine stitched. So it'll be faster. I think we're just going to make the one size, the 2-year-old size, and just go from there. I think it's just going to be the easiest thing, and they can wear big chemises. It's not going to kill the kids. So what I did is I put the pattern up to size, printed it out, and we're hoping that it works. 3. Okay, excellent. So I need 8 technically because this is a front and a back. Before I do anything else though, let's go ahead and cut this little slit. Okay. Let's do another 3 and then I'll do a 2 and we'll be in business. Okay, I'm going to sew these entirely on the 1870s machine because, well, I have one and it makes sense. Plus Wilma doesn't get used. Plus Wilma does not get used a lot, so that'll be good for her. Okay, I'm going to put the slit there. Alright, let's go ahead and get this sewing. This should not take very long in theory. So right now I am just taking 2 pieces and I'm just stitching the shoulders together. And then I'll iron and fell those and then be ready to attach the sleeves. I should have actually already gone ahead and hemmed the sleeves. That would have made logical sense with how I'm sewing this together, but here we are. I'm going to go ahead and do that next. This is so much faster than the hand crank. I love this thing. Alright, let's see if I can get these hems. I just did a narrow hem here. We're going to see if I can get this to take. Hopefully her needle's good. There we go, look at that. And because she's a chain stitch, I never have to worry about my bobbin running out because she doesn't have one. Now with the tops, I am going to have to iron that seam over so I can fell it. I'm going to trim these, turn them over, we'll come over, fell them. And then we get to go ahead and sew on the sleeves. And I guess I gotta figure out how I'm gonna trim it. I wonder if maybe I should trim them now before I sew them on. That might be easier. I am sewing trim onto the sleeves. I just picked a simple lace. That's basically what I did because I saw some originals. They were trimmed in lace, so I figured this easiest thing. I got plenty of it. So we're going to fill this as well. And then we'll get to side seams next. So I do the other seam. So it's going to look somewhat like this. So it has kind of a built-in gusset right there, which is why we didn't have to sew the separate seam. Alright, so we stitched in the sleeves, so now we're going to fell the sleeves. And then I also ironed in the necklines. I think I'm going to do that after I do the next step. So next up is taking our little chemises, putting them all together, and we're just going to stitch right down there. And I'll be filling that in a second. So now I actually have a chemise shape. Further, I'm going to do the other side. I wonder why I missed that side. Well, this is out, so I'm going to finish this one real quick. Alright, we're sewing the side seams. I have actually realized that I've put in most of these sleeves backwards. We're going to leave it. It's going to be an artistic detail. That, and I'm convinced by years of looking at antique garments that if a woman had done this in the 19th century, she probably would have loved it. It still works the same, and it's still underwear. Now we're going to do the neckline, which I've already ironed over. We stitched it all around with one fell swoop. Alright, I am just felling those side seams, which gets a little bit difficult just because of the shape of the seam. Oops. So these are already trimmed, so after this, all I have to do is hem it, and we will have completed chemises. very last step is hemming. All right. Good thing I made 2 bobbins. Yeah, so I ran out of spool. The big spools I have don't fit here, and then my little bobbins, they'll fit over this, but here. They don't fit any further, so I can't put them like on here. So I'm just setting them back there, and they're bouncing around like crazy, but it works. It's not great, but it works. There we go. Back to work. Alright, we have the chemises, and we don't have to do any more baby chemises because they're all done at this point. We will have to do slips when we start 20th century baby stuff, but we're getting the 19th century stuff at least almost completely done before we start those. So, alright. Here they are. Alright, here's our little chemises. So that's what they're like. I can flip these over when they're being worn. It's kind of like the other ones that we made with the style. And then this would fold down. So, this is what they look like being worn. These are cute little sleeves, little gusset that's already in there, which makes my life a little bit easier because I don't have to sew that separate thing. But yeah, those are the little chemises. Kind of just the lace, stitching. So the fun thing about the chain stitch machine is it does have the decorative stitch. So we sewed it on the back side, so the plain stitch, what we would call a lock stitch, even though this isn't a lock stitch, is right there. When you turn around, you got that pretty decorative chain stitch. And on the bottom too. So we made them all exactly the same, so there's no size difference, there's no trimming difference. I mean, there's tons of ways you could trim chemises. It's just easier to do it streamlined. And I've noticed that when I see collections of this is all worn by one baby, or one mother made this, they all tend to be trimmed the same. There's lots of ways to trim them, but I tend to see women trimming things the same. And the reason I think for that would really because it's so much easier just to buy in bulk. So buy one thing of trimming in bulk for all your shifts or whatever you're making for baby, like all the multitudes. And then also whenever you're sewing them, it's easier and it's more streamlined because you do the same thing over and over again. So your hands get used to doing it and things go a lot faster than if you were to switch things up on yourself. So I think that's really the reason for that. And yeah, that's basically why I decided to do them all the same way. So the other ones, like the 1860s or ones, yes, I did them differently because I was doing 2 different classes. I do so little 1880s stuff, it really isn't worth distinguishing. And by that time, lace is not very expensive, so it's not a sign of wealth necessarily, especially this stuff. This tiny little cotton stuff. So like anyone could have this. So it could be a wealthier baby's clothes. It could also be a more middling class. And that's kind of where I tend to be. And when we do 1880s, it's mostly up for poncho or something, where I'm portraying an officer's wife generally. But that is what our little chemises look like. And again, we're done with shirts and chemises. It makes me so happy. Till I start 20th century stuff, which won't be till next year, I am at least going to get the 19th century stuff done this year. Hopefully. I mean, I have a lot of clothes to make. But again, we're just working on from birth to 2. We have our older chemises now, so they'll still wear the other hand-stitched chemises when they're little, because they don't change much. But this is going to be their older chemises when they become toddlers. So from like 1 to 2, and hopefully a little bit long, kind of depends on the size of the child. But yes, those are our 1870s and 80s infant shirts or chemises. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. We do baby clothes every Friday right now. That'll change at the end of this year. We're going to do a different schedule. But for right now, for the rest of this year, we're doing baby clothes every Friday. So if this is what you're here for, tune in on Fridays, 9 a.m. We do baby clothes.
Don't forget to like the video and leave a comment. That really helps with the algorithm. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here in the next video.